Hey my cheapsy peepsies, how you doing? How's my peepsy paddle pops today? And today I have got such a treat for you because we're going to look at the archaeoastronomy of Giza. We're going to see what's going on at Giza. There are Coptic religious holidays encoded into Giza. From today, the festivals Egyptians are celebrating today are encoded into Giza. I don't know if archaeologists have come up with this, probably not, and I'll tell you why. Archaeologists are like the dude in the Pink Floyd song, Brick in the Wall. So the teacher says, "Laddie, what are you doing? Poetry? Stuff and nonsense, laddie. Put it away." Because for the teacher, in his one-dimensional view of the world, the only thing that matters is what's in the elementary school textbook, what his better-offs have been writing for him to relay to the students. The student is doing poetry because he can see above the one-dimensionality of what's happening around him in the classroom. So that is exactly what is going on with archaeology. Archaeologists, believe it or not, have taken the human, the anthro, out of archaeology. So the archaeology religion is, if it's not in the ground, we don't talk about it. Let me repeat that to you guys. If it's not in the ground, we don't mention it. So if it's some ancient history, they don't say, "Oh, well, this legend sounds like that." No, they don't even do that. Maybe a few museum curators have started doing that, but not really. It's so fascinating. So archaeologists, please understand, absolute knuckleheads up here, knuckleheads. And you have to be a little bit creative, inventive, if you want to do real archaeology and want to see what's going on. So, having said all that, we're going to do the overlay. You're in for a treat. It's really cool. But first, let's have a look at Giza. And there's something very wrong with Giza. I want you to tell me what's wrong with Giza. Just looking at that overlay. Look at the overlay, people. I'll give you a clue. What's in the middle is not in the middle. What is in the middle is not in the middle? Bilbo Baggins could have been asked this question by that snaky guy, Original Sin guy. Okay, what's in the middle is not in the middle. This here should be there. The reason it should be there, it dawned on me, because when you have a triple-headed god, the heads look in three different directions, but they're all facing forward. And please check out my totem pole video. In that video, I explain totally and absolutely how totem poles work. No one knows how they work. I always wanted to know how they worked. You know what? I look at books. No one knows how they work. But I'm telling you how they work in that video. You come to Chucky for all your ancient mystery answers. No one else on YouTube knows. No one. They all come to Chucky for answers. The best in ancient mysteries. You know, why should I be modest when I'm so perfect? But anyway, I don't want to lie to people. But anyway, that's a story for another day. Let's look at this. This pyramid here should be there because the three heads, one looks at the center, one looks there, one looks there. I noticed this in the totem pole video when we looked at the Greek god Geryon, which looks like the king or the queen in my Thai chess set. So, having said that, it looks like this was built, and then this was built as an afterthought because they thought, oh, hang on, we need to celebrate the equinox. So we're celebrating the sun rising at these two dates. It's facing east, so notice it's Easter. We're going to see that in a moment. They're celebrating Easter. The Giza people are celebrating Easter. And this throws away a lot of what I've been saying about high technology, but it doesn't mean this wasn't built inspired by some earlier higher technology designs or plans or whatever. But it shows that these people is a religious complex for an Easter renewal. And it looks like they were celebrating these two dates, and these are not solstices. They weren't too interested in the solstice. The solstices is something different at the pyramids. Shadows being cast on the faces. Robert Temple goes into that. It's not my field. My field is these causeways and how they're pointing. That one should be there, and it kind of shows something, doesn't it? It kind of shows that this one was built last as an afterthought. And in fact, the ancient people said this one was built, then this one was built, and then this one was built. But it shows they might have made a mistake and they should have put one in the middle, or they weren't interested in that. They just wanted these two sides, but then they brought that one in. And I also made a video saying this is a triple goddess because one is looking at old age, one is looking towards youth, and one is looking at the present. So this is the riddle of the Sphinx. What walks on different legs? What walks on 4 legs? A baby. What walks on 2 legs? A man in midlife or a woman. And what walks on 3 legs? Someone with a walking stick. So this is life, birth, death, renewal. Here, this is the riddle of the Sphinx. And the Sphinx is asking, oh, what's my secret? That's your secret, Sphinx! But anyway, let's bring up the overlay. So I showed you how to do this in a previous video on the Roman pyramid. And so what I did was, what you do for starters is, I'll just make that a little bit different. Actually, you can see that it's lined up with Cairo, so you can actually move this around and line up with different places. So I've lined up with Cairo where the pyramids are. And having done that, now we bring it up, so let's bring that one down a bit to there. And I've done this already. I've lined it up with the causeway, and the date is 22 April. So what I then did was I went to Coptic holidays, because you look up ancient Egyptian religious holidays, it says the first 18th day of the month or whatever. Those are not our months. You can't apply it to today. So the 12 best festivals in Egypt: 20 April, Sham al Nassim. Look, there's even a sun festival. Look, that doesn't, I don't believe that would come from Islam. That's an ancient Egyptian festival. They're doing ancient, and even the Islamic dates would be overlaid on top of ancient Egyptian festivals, possibly because many of those, the early Islamic sites were dominated by ancient Egypt. Whether it's Mecca, whether it's Petra, ancient Egypt had a huge influence over them. So let's check out this festival to see what the Pyramid of Khufu is venerating with its causeway. Sham al-Nassim. Sham al-Nassim. So, also known as Sniffing the Breeze Festival, the Sham al-Nassim Festival celebrates the arrival of spring. Like any other place, this ancient festival which welcomes spring is celebrated by all the people regardless of faith. Families gather together to go for picnics, to parks, beaches, historical sites. See, they go to historical sites on this day. How old is that religion? And with a basket filled with traditional food items. Street dancers, entertainers and vendors line a street to entertain the people. So there would have been massive crowds around Giza at this time. Celebrated all across Egypt, so it's picnics and it's fun. But here's the thing, 22 April. So we're looking about, it's about Easter. So the problem with the Easter dates is they shuffle around a lot because they're based on a much more ancient calendar. So if we're looking at the Julian calendar seems to put it about the time, which is of course the traditional calendar. The Roman calendar, it puts it about this time. So the Romans were celebrating this time, 27 April, or 5th of May, or 23 April, or 15 April, or the 12 April, or 20. It's about that time. So Easter and resurrection, this was their day of resurrection. It's their day. It's not the solstice they were celebrating here at Giza. Well, they were doing that as well, but this causeway is for a line-up of the rising sun, the eastern sun, and they're celebrating the renewal because they can smell the flowers for the first time. That's what they're sniffing on the breeze. It's a flower festival. It's smelling the flowers. And don't we see so many flowers depicted on Egyptian reliefs? Now, I haven't measured the other two dates yet. So let's actually bring back what this is. You can do it yourself. It's a program called Helium. And then you bring in, you can open your URL. So I've used a page. I've used a website called SunCalc by a guy called Thorsten Hoffmann, and of course it's a German. Germans seem to invent everything. Don't they seem to invent everything? It's always a German behind some radical new thing. But anyway, let's check out the other things. So there she blows. So let's now put it over. So let's say we put it right there over the head of the mortuary temple of Khafre. And let's see what Mr. Khafre was up to. You see, you can find all the secrets like this. Archaeologists are looking up at the sky and saying, what am I, an astronomer? I'm not going to do that. Let's change the dates around. I have to click on the helium, then we can change the dates around. So let's go to the opposite time of year. Let's go to August, see what happens. Like that. Now what happens is, when you bring your mouse over that shows where the sun is rising at the moment. But it also shows the solstices north and south of that, the winter and summer. So you have that tool as well. Now, let's make it less translucent and let's check what's going on. So let's go to the opacity, bring it back to something more reasonable. Okay, so we've tried April. Now let's try November. I really want to try that. So let's bring it up. So let's try November. Let's say November the 23rd. So that'll change it. So suddenly let's change the line down to there. We've gone too far, way too far. It looks like it's more around Halloween. So let's go to October. Let's try October the 23rd. Boom. Let's try October, let's say the 26th. Perfect. No, it's not quite perfect. It's more like October the 28th. So we're getting around the end of October. So let's check out the end of October in our Coptic calendar. So we go to the Coptic calendar. I'm going to get helium out of the way. Oh yeah, I'm planning a trip from quarantine. Yep. So we go to the calendar, and let's have a look, peepsies, peepsy cheepsies. So we go to October. Oh, boom. Maulid an Nabi. So let's go to Maulid an Nabi. And this is the festival of the Pyramid of Khafre. You know, why don't archaeologists do this? It's because they're too good for it. It's number, it's number 9. So let's go to number 11. Food. Okay, nice. So another one of the important Islamic festivals in Egypt is Maulid an-Nabi, which marks the birth of Prophet Muhammad and is celebrated, and by the way, it's Khafre Pyramid as well, and is separated with great festivities. I'm not making any insinuations, by the way, and celebrated with great festivals all around Egypt. Families come together and celebrate these festivals with each other. Traditional foods are sold on the roadside, and people eat hummus with traditional food and celebrate this holiday with great joy. So there you go. The families get together and eat food. Now, this would have also been a time for visiting the ancestors. So an Egyptian tomb is structured so that you walk down the steps and there's the tomb, and the dead body's behind the door, but he can see out with his mummy eyes. There's a bit of a slit sometimes, or the eyes are there. So you can see the family. So you have a dinner together. And this is what Africans do as well. They even dig up the body. We know the voodoo festivals, they dig up the body, have a dinner with him, and then put him back. It's almost like the ancient Egyptians have translated this over to the rest of Africa. Who knows? So this is for eating food, for the family getting together. And it's the 28th of October, 29th of October. And that is just what we saw. So the festival of the Pyramid of Khafre is Maulid an-Nabi. The festival of the earlier of the Pyramid of Khufu is Sham al-Nasim, sniffing the breeze. So we see that Khufu is youth. We see that Maulid an-Nabi is old age, and we see that the other one is middle age. So now if we go to the meridian, let's just, the meridian is the equinox. So I'll just quickly Google the equinox dates. So the sun rises and sets at the equinox twice a year. The equinox dates are the same everywhere. So the dates are Tuesday, 22 September 2020. So that's one of the dates. Or there's the March equinox on the 20 March. So 22 September, 20 March is the equinox. And that's quite interesting. If you like, we can verify that. Let's do the overlay once more. Bring all this stuff back up. Let's have a peep. And let's type 22. What was it? 22 September. Let's just go to September, 1 month earlier. 22 September. There it is, bang on. So what happens on these dates? Let's have a peek and let's have a look. So we go to these dates. So September is, it just says, all it says is Wafa al-Nil. This is the festival of the Pyramid of Menkaure. So Wafa. And there's even a little sphinx there, how cute. So, and there's even like something Hindu, I don't know. Another festival dedicated to the auspicious Nile, so this is the Nile festival now, is Wafa al-Nil, or Fidelity of the Nile, which is celebrated every year in the month of September to celebrate the importance of this river for the Egyptian people. The Festival of Egypt is mostly a cultural festival, which includes concerts, poetry, readings, and events for Egyptian children. So, to highlights once again, it's all across Egypt: concerts, poetry, knowledge, and events for children. Knowledge. So this is the knowledge god. It's also the red pyramid. Red is Vulcan, the giant who fell from heaven, the bad demon who fell from heaven. It represents him. This is quite interesting. So what we see here is most fascinating. The decipherment of Giza. Modern Coptic... I googled Coptic holidays and this is what it gave me. So modern Coptic holidays are enshrined at Giza. Conclusion: Giza ain't that old. Or at least those causeways ain't that old. What if the pyramids are a different age? It's complicated, guys. It's complicated. But it also shows where Easter comes from. Easter was at Giza. We saw in the Stonehenge video where the serpent is pointing. Easter was also at Stonehenge. I'll do another overlay with the Stonehenge serpent in another video. That'll be a lot of fun. We are doing archaeoastronomy on this channel, the best channel for archaeoastronomy. This channel is my hobby. It's a passion. I started it because I needed it, firstly, to sell my Pyramids book, The Triple Goddess, that you see at Giza, but also the fact that I was doing this as a distraction from other stuff I had to do. And it was a lot of fun. I wanted to point stuff out that no one else is pointing out. And they all come here to this channel for their answers. Guys, have the best day ever. All this quarantine stuff, it's going to pass soon. The sun in the northern hemisphere will kill off this pathogen. Yes!